What's up everyone, it's Natalie here, and today I am filming a video on what it is like to be your own boss. I have been wanting to film one of these videos for kind of a while now. I just really wanted to sit down and talk about the pros and cons of working for yourself, being self-employed, being your own boss, and I'm going to talk about a few things that are, I guess a few categories, and then I'm going to explain my situation in those categories and then explain the pros and cons of being self-employed versus working for a normal like corporate job or just a normal regular job. Doesn't have to be corporate job or anything like that. I am currently 23 years old, and it's crazy to say that I do work for myself. I think that's honestly what so mind-blowing to me, and every single day I am so grateful. So thank you guys for making it possible and for making it a reality. And I never want to feel, or I never want to seem like it's unattainable for you guys. If that is your goal, I mean, some people do not want to be their own boss, they don't want to work for themselves, and that is totally fine. But I don't ever want it to be like, oh well, you can do it, but like I could never do that, you know. Like I really want it to feel attainable for all of you guys, that if you guys do want to, I guess, eventually work for yourself one day, that it is a possibility. And hopefully this video sheds light on the pros and cons. And before we get into the video, I wanted to thank the sponsor, Squarespace. I love Squarespace, and I actually, thanks to them, I am able to also be self-employed in a way because they helped create my websites. I use Squarespace to run my consulting services, which is nataliebarbu.com. It is my own consulting company that I just recently started. So I actually use Squarespace. I was using them before I went into this partnership with them on YouTube. So I was using them long before then, but Squarespace is by far the easiest way to build a website. If you guys are wanting to build an online store, a blog, show off your photography skills, create a portfolio, literally any type of website that you need, you can find a way to make it on Squarespace. They make it really easy because you don't need to know how to code, and also they have so many beautiful templates that you can choose from, and it's the most customizable website builder. I have used quite a few other website builders in the past, and none of them are quite as customizable as Squarespace. They have so many free templates, and you can literally do like whatever you want with these templates. Like, I am not kidding, you can customize every single thing. So I am very fortunate to be working with them. I love them. I use them every single day on my own business, and they just make it easy to run, and there's so many things that integrate with it. It's great. If you guys want to get 10% off your first purchase on squarespace.com or 10% off of your domain, then go to squarespace.com/NatalieBarbu and type in Natalie Barbu in the promo codes. And let's get into, I guess, pros, cons of being self-employed, what it's really like being your own boss. Whatever the video title is, let's get into it. The first thing I'm going to talk about is accountability. And with accountability, obviously, if you work for yourself, it's not, you don't have like someone else in charge of you. So that is the #1 difference between working for someone else and working for yourself, is the accountability part of it. So you are your own boss. You are telling yourself what to do. No one is telling you to get up in the morning. No one is telling you about what tasks you need to do for the day. If, you know, like when I was working, I was like, okay, I'm done with this. Like, what else do you want me to work on? Like, yeah, no, now that person is you. So that is definitely the #1 difference when it comes to accountability for working with yourself. Ultimately, you get to choose what you want to do and what you think best serves your business. Pros of that is that you're not really wasting time. So I felt like when I worked at a corporate job, I had a lot of inefficient time. Like, I was just sitting there doing busy work, not really doing anything that I thought would help the company, help the project that I was on. I was just doing a lot of busy work or stuff to like keep myself busy that wasn't really helpful or like anyone else could have done. And I felt like they were paying me for no reason sometimes. I was just like, I'm just sitting here. Like, I don't know if most people felt that way, but I definitely felt that way when I was at my job. And there was just a lot of not productive time used, or the time that was there was not well spent for, especially for like lower level people like me. Like, I was just an analyst. I know my manager always had work to do and she was always busy, but for me, I just felt like I wasn't doing that much and I wasn't that productive. And then once I started becoming my own boss, I realized that it was so nice because every single thing I did helped me or my business. Like, me sitting down to film this video is helping my business. Me like answering emails is helping my business. So everything that I do in my mind is like going back to my business, and it's very productive, and that feels so good. And it's such a rewarding feeling, like not just doing busy work for the sake of doing something, you know, like everything you're doing has an end goal or is going towards something that is actually useful or beneficial. So that is the biggest like pro for me when it comes to accountability. But then of course there is a con, because you have to be very, 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 very self-motivated, because again, there is no one telling you what to do. So if you want to wake up every morning at 10 a.m, you totally can. I mean, no one's telling you to get up in the morning. If you want to stay up all night, you can. If you want to just lounge around all day, you can. And I mean, yes, that's nice, but it's also hard, because you have to be so extremely self-motivated that if you are not telling yourself to get up at a certain time, to do your work, to be productive, a lot of days can pass by when you actually did nothing, and then it's just like, like I didn't do anything. So you definitely have to be very, very self-motivated, and it takes a lot of self-discipline to do that. The other thing is free time. So free time, I feel like people think that when you're self-employed, you have a ton more free time because you're not at an office, like a regular office from 9 to 5. So people think that your life is just like chilling, you can work for an hour, like have fun for an hour, whatever. I feel like people don't take my time as seriously as like if I had, or when I had my corporate job. I feel like now it's like, oh well, like you work for yourself and you do YouTube and you do like your online services and stuff, like you have all the time in the world, when really it's not like that at all. I feel like now I have even less free time. Like I'm less stressed because from 9 to 5 I was working and stuff, and then like when I came home I was working too, so I didn't have as much like free time, I guess, back then. But now I feel like I need to be working every second of the day, where sometimes I would come home from work and be like, okay, I'm done with work, like I don't want to do anything else, versus now it's like every second of my day I feel like I need to spend doing something productive. So I feel like I actually have less free time now, because it's more of a mental thing, I guess. And I don't know, when you're working for yourself, there's constantly things that you need to be doing. Like there's no deadline really. Like I finished one video, on to the next one. I finished one client, on to the next one. Oh, I don't have any clients booked, I need to figure out a way how to get more clients. You know, like there's always something you need to think about, and there's always things that need to be done. So I actually think that being self-employed, you actually have not as much free time, even though you can make your schedule, because you just like, there's always something that you can be doing. So the pro to free time is that I can really decide whatever I want to do, which is nice. A lot of times I choose to do things that other people can't do during the day because I know it's like less busy. So I'll go get my nails done in the middle of the afternoon on a Wednesday, or I'll go grocery shopping on a Tuesday morning, you know, like things that when people are at work, I do them just because it's less crowded, it's less stress, I can be in and out much quicker, it's a lot more efficient. So that is really, really nice. Like doctor's appointments, I can do whenever. I don't have to do it before work or after work or ask for time off. So that is definitely like the nicest part, is that I'm completely in control of my schedule. But the con is, like I was saying, you just feel guilty if you're not doing work. There is constantly things that you need to be working on or could be working on. There's definitely things that you like should be doing, you know. So I just feel guilty if I'm not working every second of the day. I'm like, well, I'm wasting time. Like I could be doing something, so why am I not? Versus at a normal job, I feel like once you're off the clock or once your hours are done, it's like, oh well, not my problem, I'll deal with it next time I go into the office or next time I go into work. I think that that's kind of the difference. It's like it doesn't turn off for me, it's always on, especially the industry that I'm in, like doing YouTube and vlogging my life. It's like it really doesn't turn off for me, because everything I feel like is work, even though it doesn't feel like work all the time. It, in a sense, it is. Like posting on Instagram, posting on YouTube, posting stories, technically that's not work, but a lot of times it is, if that makes sense, because I do make a living off of posting on social media. The next one, which a lot of people are probably curious about, is money. So money is definitely the number one thing people ask me about when it comes to working for myself. Like when I decided to quit my job, a lot of people were concerned about how am I going to pay my bills, how am I gonna be financially independent, or am I going back to like living at home, or like whatever. Like I had so many random people ask me like, oh, like so you quit your Accenture job for working on YouTube, like how are you gonna pay the bills? So I do think money is the number one thing that people have a question about. The pros about being self-employed and money is that there is no limit and there is no cap. When you're working for another company, you kind of know how much you're going to get paid. An entry-level job is about this much money, whatever it is for your company, for your field, and then you know that if you get a promotion in a year, you'll be making X amount more or a percentage more. There's kind of a cap. You know how much the senior vice president at your company makes. So if you make it to that point, like you'll probably make about the same as they do. Like you can find all of this on Glassdoor, you know, like there's numbers set in place and you can kind of guess how much you are able to make, versus I feel like working for yourself, there is no limit. Like obviously I can't just be like, I want to make $400,000 this year and poof, just make $400,000 this year. Like no, that's not gonna happen. But I'm I'm just saying that there is no cap. So I can make 100,000, I can make 200,000, I can make 300,000, whatever that looks like. I am able to make that if in a matter of time, if I do certain brand deals, if I do whatever it is, you know, like there's not a cap for me, there's no limit. Obviously, I'm not saying I'm going to make that much, but I am just saying that there is no limit when you are working for yourself. Typically, you know, like in a corporate job, you're not gonna make much more than this, or it'll take you this amount of time to make that much money. And having a like your own business and stuff, it really is up to you on how much money you are able to make. Like I can change my prices and make more money if I want, or I can lower them and take on more clients and make more money that way, you know, so it really is in my control. The cons for that though is that it's very inconsistent. Some months for me are really, really great. Like some months for me are like double other months, you know, so it just is super, super inconsistent. So you have to be good at like budgeting and saving your money and just understanding like how much money on average you make, and also living beneath your means, or living not like you're making as much money as you are. I try to live a little less than what I'm making because I don't want to get used to that amount, and also I want to save a lot of money. I don't want to just spend all my money. I want to be able to invest it and make money on my money, you know? So I do think that that is something that's difficult, because if you get a bunch in and like you're like, oh my gosh, I'm making so much, it's easy to kind of just start living like you're making that much. And there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, it's your money, literally do whatever you want. I don't care what other people do with their money, like that is on them. It doesn't affect my life. I'm gonna sleep the exact same way if you spend all your money, I don't care. I'm just telling you the way I live is that I try to live a little bit below my means so that I don't get used to it, and so that I do have money saved, because I know that the job I'm in and the industry I'm in and working for yourself, it is very inconsistent. So if one month you make $0, like you want to have, I guess, that backup cash, you know. Another thing is taxes. So a lot of people ask me about taxes. A lot of people want me to do a whole video on taxes. I don't feel comfortable doing a video on taxes because I am not an accountant, and I just don't know that much about taxes, if I'm being honest, you guys. Like I go to my accountant and she tells me everything I need to do, and then I do it. It's literally different for everyone, so I don't feel comfortable sharing tips on taxes. I'll just tell you guys what I do in videos like this. For me, taxes are not taken out of your paycheck if you're self-employed. Obviously, you just make all the money and then you have to decide how much you get taxed or how much you give to the IRS, you know, like that is how that works. The pros, I guess, for not taking the taxes out, which there really aren't many pros in this scenario working for yourself, but the pros would be that there are things that you can write off. If you are working a normal job, you can't just like expense things really, because it's just a set in stone, like your taxes are taken out of your paycheck. But if you are your own boss, you can write off a lot of things. So for me, if I go on a work trip, I can write off that plane ticket. If I go to like something that I'm vlogging the whole time and I'm vlogging this event and it costs me money to go to this event or whatever, like I can write off the Uber type of thing, you know. And I would talk to your accountant to see what you can write off, because I don't know, every industry is different, every business is different. Like my camera equipment, Final Cut Pro, editing stuff, all of that I can write off as a business expense, and then I'm not taxed on that amount. So let's say I make $100 and I spend $20 on business expenses, then I'm only taxed on $80. So that's how that works. So that is nice that you can write things off, and a lot of times people will like buy things just so that they can like be taxed on less things. Your accountant can like explain what is smarter for you to do. I'm not gonna give any financial advice. I don't advise you to do anything like financially, but I'm just talking about that's like the benefits of being self-employed when it comes to taxes. And then the con is that obviously they're not taken out, so you get direct deposited and you have to decide how you are going to pay the government. My accountant tells me exactly how much to pay. She gives me a percentage. We go through it. I pay quarterly. She tells me how to pay quarterly, and then she files my income tax at the end of the year. So she does all of that for me, which is great. And then she tells me how much to pay. An accountant also costs money though. I think mine is like $250 or $300 an hour. So if you're sitting with her in a meeting for an hour, that's costing you like $300 right there. So I mean, they're definitely pricey, but I mean, I love her. I would never ever not get an accountant, because taxes are just very, very tricky, and they can also help you out with like how to get taxed less with, I don't know, like contributing more money to your 401k or your Roth IRA or whatever I am not, like, this is why I'm not making a video on taxes, because I don't know that much. She tells me what to do and I listen to her. So yeah, that's the downside, is that you do have to meet with an accountant and you do have to figure that stuff out, and they're also not cheap, but they're worth every penny. So if you have your own business, or if you're getting paid and it's not through like a corporation or a company or anything like that, I would definitely advise going to an accountant, because you don't want to get audited and you don't want to not be paying your taxes, because that could be very, very bad. So that's like the #1 thing I did when I started my business, and I definitely do not regret it. And then the last thing is benefits. When you are working for a normal job and like a corporation, a lot of times they give you benefits. Not every company does this, obviously, but I know when I was working for Accenture, I got health insurance, dental insurance, you could have eye care insurance, you could just have a bunch of, there was just like a ton of benefits. Like sometimes they'll pay for your gym, like depending on your company, you know, they'll match your 401k contributions, things like that. Those are all amazing to have at a company, and that's a lot of reasons, like a huge reason why people stay at a normal job, because it's really nice having those benefits. So I don't have any benefits anymore. I do have to pay for my own health insurance. A lot of people think because I'm not 26 yet, I'm still on my parents, but my parents have this weird health insurance that you get kicked off at 23. So I was kicked off when I turned 23 years old, which is fine, but I do pay like $200 a month for health insurance. And also like the deductible is really high. Health insurance is so expensive in the United States, it's ridiculous. So I have a Roth IRA, so I contribute to a Roth IRA right now, but like I don't have a company that's matching it or anything like that. So I definitely have to do everything like on my own, which honestly is fine for me. Like I budget it, I definitely am a huge budgeter, and I budget that into my monthly budget and my monthly expenses, so it's not like a shock to me that I'm paying that every month. But it is kind of annoying when like you're used to kind of having that taken out and like you're not worrying about it at all. There's not really pros and cons to that. That's just honestly a pretty much just a con for me, is having to pay for that. But the pro is that you get to work for yourself. So that is it for today's video. I really hope that you guys enjoyed it. I pretty much went over everything that I thought was the differences between working for yourself and working at a normal job. And if you guys are self-employed, I would love to know your thoughts on if anything was relatable, if it's not relatable, what your experience has been with working for yourself. And if you guys want to work for yourself one day, let me know. If you guys want to climb up the corporate ladder and be a boss, you know, let me know. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Thank you Squarespace for sponsoring today's video, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye guys.